the ones that are mentioned or those are hopefully high will yeah. So hopefully after this, we'll get a grade and we'll end up increasing our blood glucose levels once again. But for the time being, hang in there. Hopefully this presentation will be stimulating for you, and your blood glucose level will go up by the sodium slide. All right, so what I want to talk about today is looking at diabetes and looking at how diabetes can modulate and in fact potentiate some of the rewarding effects of nicotine and the mechanism that's underlying this process, which is actually work in progress. So I'll start with diabetes. I don't know how many of you are experts in diabetes. I know a handful of you might be very small experts in this field. Some of you may not know much. So I'll just start by saying that diabetes is a metabolic disorder. There are in general two types of diabetes that are defined, although other people can argue that there are other types of diabetes, especially if you might be a disease researcher. But type 1 and type 2 diabetes are the traditional two types of diabetes that are out there. We have insulin-dependent diabetes and type 1. That's manifested by patients having low insulin levels and high glucose levels. In fact, patients that have type 1 diabetes have difficulty synthesizing insulin. Then we have type 2 diabetic patients who are considered to be non-insulin dependent, and that's manifested by insulin resistance and high levels of glucose in their blood. So, given that we have patients that have this metabolic condition, we are dealing with patients who have complications due to this significant metabolic condition. Particularly patients who have diabetes are at much greater risk of developing glaucoma, cataracts, ocular issues, peripheral neuropathies, which can be very painful conditions for these patients, various skin conditions, and one of the issues that really comes about when patients or physicians or anyone really thinks about diabetes is atherosclerosis. And there are certain factors that really increase the rate of atherosclerosis in patients who have diabetes, particularly patients that have high risk of having hypertension, have a much higher rate of developing high cholesterol levels. And also, one thing that is a significant factor that every single diabetic patient is told not to do is not to smoke. And because smoking has been perched on the entire day today, the number of presentations as well as what we already may have heard, smoking is really not good for you. And that's especially the case if you're a diabetic. So the two kind of don't mix well together. All right. So I want to look at the whole concept of smoking and really think about smoking and nicotine use and how this all relates. So clinical evidence shows that patients who have diabetes are at a much greater rate, have much greater pleasurable effects of smoking compared to patients who are not diabetic. So this is a surprise to us, but there is literature on that. Patients who are diabetic and who do smoke have greater difficulty of smoking cessation and giving up smoking. And that the healthcare costs of patients who do smoke are about 300% higher than diabetic patients who do not smoke. So this should be kind of a red flag for people to think about contact or interactions between diabetes and smoking and thinking about the relevance of this in the clinical arena. I'm going to kind of do a crash course for you, or just a brief discussion of nicotine abuse. We've been told a number of times about this today. So the most addictive and uncontrolled substance, uncontrolled thing that is not controlled by the government in many ways, is nicotine. It is the leading avoidable cause of mortality in the U.S., and some other presenters have given statistics of up to 400,000 to 500,000 deaths related to nicotine use in this country per year. And the mechanism by which nicotine produces its pleasurable or rewarding effects is similar to many illicit drugs. So what I want to actually just briefly go over how exactly it is that nicotine produces its pleasurable effects. And what you see here is a cross-section of a brain. This is not a human brain. This is a brain of probably a rat. And what we have here is, I'm showing you the dopaminergic limbic system, or mesocortical limbic system, where the cell bodies are located in the ventral tegmental area. And those cells project their axons to a number of different regions, including the nucleus accumbens. and dopamine is released in the nucleus accumbens. If an animal or human, it really doesn't matter, uses nicotine, nicotine can act in the ventral tegmental area to cause an increase in the release of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens. And that's essentially how many people, both in rats and mice, experience the pleasurable effect by that increase in dopamine levels in the nucleus accumbens. And these little things that you see here, symbols represent nicotine receptors. One thing that this image is not showing is how does diabetes come into my pathway? Well, one thing that over the years has been shown is that in addition to nicotine receptors in the pathway, there are insulin receptors. In fact, there's data showing that there are insulin receptors in the ventral tegmental area as well as in the nucleus accumbens. And it's highly likely that this, or we can think that insulin receptors do indeed interact with dopaminergic. So based on that, we want to ask the question of, can diabetes alter the reward receptor nicotine? And if it does, then how in the world is it doing that? That's a little question we can talk about. So to do this, we decided to model a diabetic condition in our rats, and we used this model known as the streptozotocine-induced hypoglycemia. Streptozotocine was originally back in the 1930s was thought to be an antibiotic. However, they wanted to realize that streptozotocine, although it has some antibiotic properties, it actually is a very toxic chemical for the pancreas. Indeed, what happens with streptozotocine is once an animal or a human is given streptozotocine, that streptozotocine is transported by the group of transporter GLU2 type of transporters that are located on the beta cells of the pancreas. So those transporters transport streptozotocine into the beta cells of the pancreas. The beta cells of the pancreas are the ones that actually synthesize and release insulin. So streptozotocine kills the beta cells, and by killing those beta cells, the organism that has been given that STD will start experiencing significant hyperinsulinemia. If you end up having hyperinsulinemia, i.e. less insulin, you will end up having hyperglycemia. And this particular model, the STD model, is thought to be considered as a model of type 1 diabetes and certain advanced stages of type 2 diabetes. So in our studies, we went ahead and developed these animals and gave them STD and got them to become hypoglycemic. And then we decided to do a safety self-administration study. Some of you might be experts in self-administration, so for the experts, I have the panel that has more elaborate setup of how the self-administration is done. For the non-cell experts, I have an on the right, which essentially gives the point across that hey, you put the animal in a compartment. In that compartment, there are levers. One of the levers is associated with nicotine. So the animal presses that lever, and injection of nicotine is given the animal. Right. So in this particular setup that we have, we put the animals in the 23 hours for a extended period of time. So these animals actually have 23-hour access to nicotine. They literally live in those compartments with levels. The testing occurs for 10 days, and the animal is placed on a fixed ratio of 1 schedule. Essentially, what that means that every single time the animal presses the lever, they get an infusion of nicotine. They're given 0.03 mg per kg of nicotine for each infusion, and that in addition to measuring nicotine intake in these animals, we also measure food and water intake in these animals. Okay, so what I want to start with is just to demonstrate the hyperglycemia that is induced in these animals by streptozotocine. On the y-axis, we have glucose levels. On the x-axis, we have the rate of self-administration. So we first induce hyperglycemia in these animals, then we put them in the self-administration compartment, and then we have them self-administer, or at this time we just measure their glucose levels. So the open symbols are for animals who are self-administering for saline, the closed symbols are animals who are self-administering for nicotine, the circles are animals who have been treated with STD breath flares, or for animals who have been given vehicles. Those animals are not quote-unquote diabetic. And what you'll notice is that regardless of example, the drug supplements we say nicotine, animals who are given SPG have much higher blood glucose levels compared to the animals who are not given them. So this is clearly demonstrating that a group of animals who are quite a bit hyperactive. So with these animals, what we did was we started doing this nicotine supplementation study. And what we noticed is that I'm going to focus on the close symbols over here. So the close symbols again are the nicotine supplementation animals. On the x-axis, on the y-axis, we have upper responses, so essentially the number of times they lever press. On the y-axis, we have days of supplementation, so days 1 through 10. And what we noticed is that initially our SPG treated and our renal control animals start at a similar level of nicotine intake. However, as time progresses over the supplementation days, the animals who are not given, our control animals essentially, start reducing somewhat their supplementation, but then maintain it at a consistent level. Whereas our SPG treated animals persist on having greater supplementation of nicotine. This continues on for the entire period that we are assessing the study. At the same time, animals who are supposed to be supplementing for saline, their level of stresses are relatively low compared to our nicotine supplementing animals. And one thing that this is showing is that if you were to give a rat SPG, so the circles over here, would they be supplementing the supplementation due to nicotine? Or do first, then get more fluid intake in their body. And this is shown that it did not. So these animals are supposed to be supplementing for nicotine, who have been given SPG, and their supplementation is quite we also measured, although I'm not showing the data on this slide, we also measured food and water intake in these animals, and just like any other disease models that we have in animals, what happens with food and water is water and food intake that are in animals who are given SPG are much, much higher than your control animals, which is expected. We have this interesting behavioral data, and we try to see what we can do to start characterizing and identifying some of the changes that might be permanently that could lead to the behavior. So the first thing we did was we looked at the nucleotides of our animals, and then we tried to measure the dopamine D1 and D2 receptors in terms of these animals. So first, I'll show you the left graph that represents the D1 receptors, and what we have is we have vehicle controls of the MCP animals. So again, open bars containing supplementary rats. The bars are nicotine supplementary rats. And what we notice is overall, animals who are given SPG have a decrease in the number of D1 receptors they have in the D1 as compared to our control animals. So there seems to be a significant downregulation of D1 receptors. What we noticed with the D2 receptors, however, is that there was no change. So although D1 receptors were downregulated, not much happened with the D receptors in these animals. The next step was, well, if dopamine receptors are changed, what is happening to the transporters? So we did an assay, we did another Western blot looking at the dopamine transporters, and I'm showing you data for two different dopamine transporter data here. These are data all from the same animal, in fact, it's from the same Western blot. However, we're looking at two different bands because dopamine transporters, when we do the Western blot, we get two bands. One of them has 55 kilodaltons, the other one has 75. The 55 kilodalton band is representing the non-glycosylated proteins, so these are receptors that are feeding the cell inside the cell by the plasmid receptors, whereas the 75 kilodalton receptors, we're looking at glycosylated proteins, so we're looking at cell membrane transporters. And what we notice is regardless of intracellular or cell membrane transporters, we see in general an increase in dopamine transporters, again, in our SPG animals as compared to our control. So essentially showing that the SPG model caused an enhancement in dopamine transporter. That's what we did was we went ahead and measured dopamine. Given that we had changes in receptor levels, given that we had changes in transporters, we were interested to see just exactly how is dopamine release affected in these animals. So we took another group of animals, gave them the SPG treatment again, inserted catheters into the nucleus accumbens and started measuring dopamine. we have our baseline animals here. Again, on the y-axis we have dopamine levels. On the x-axis we have the different fractions we take across minutes. So the entire session was over 6 hours or over 6 hours. The first 40 minutes was baseline, and then after the 40 minutes we started documenting it. The first thing we noticed during baseline is that animals who are treated with FTD have lower baseline dopamine than animals who are not. If we give them saline and measure their dopamine levels again, not much difference. If we give them nicotine at 0.4 mg per kg systemically, we see that our FTD treated animals, their dopamine release isn't affected much. Whereas our control animals start to show somewhat of a trend toward increasing dopamine levels in the model. If we give them 0.8 mg of nicotine, then we do see a slow enhancement in the dopamine release in our control animals, and we see a moderate enhancement or change in our FTD treated animals, specifically the latter 2 time points over here seem to be consistent in our baseline animals. So just to make sure that our dialysis is working correctly, we decided to give these animals vaseline injection. Second, if amphetamine is really good, so what happened was, yes, we gave them amphetamine at the very end, and indeed, in our control animals, we saw a nice spike in dopamine release, whereas with our FTD treated animals, yeah, we did see some increase in dopamine, but definitely nothing similar to what you would expect with our control animals. So essentially, we're showing that there seems to be some kind of dopamine release in these animals in the basal state as well as after drug administration, and that there are things that are happening to the numbers, both at the transporters and the receptors. So FTD rats self-administered more nicotine than control rats. So our dopamine D1 receptor levels were reduced while the DHT levels were increased by FTD treatment. Dopamine release was blunted in FTD treated rats, and these data suggest suppression and upregulation of the dopamine in FTD treated rats, which could lead to greater nicotine. So at the end, I just want to acknowledge a number of people. First, folks in my lab, particularly John Hennigan, who work on Western blood analysis. My collaborator, Dr. Laura Odell. Hi, Laura. She's done a large amount of the data collection that I'm showing you here, particularly the dialysis data and the behavioral data that I just presented to you was done by personnel in her laboratory, so Ramon and Venezuela. And I'd like to thank Dr. Friedman for his continued support in tutoring us on diabetes, as well as being a consultant, and again, our funding sources, so the American Diabetes Association, Borderline Medical Research Center for Youth Health Folks, as well as funding by Washington University for some of the work that we've done around that. Thank you. Our next presentation is Dr. Nazarian. Couple questions, anybody?
I would say, including the cell the control animal.
So that's a good question. So as someone who may work with FTD treated animals, Self-administered really does put these animals in poor health. They do lose weight, definitely. We did not look at these animals for many weeks after Self-administered. So these animals have been given Self-administered about 2 weeks before, actually 1 week before the start of the so overall, we got FTD for about 2 to 3 weeks. At that stage, their local activity, from my understanding and my conversation with Dr. Odell, their local activity is not affected. The data you are seeing is not due to motor division of motor suppression and other in the field. Okay, if we wait longer periods of time where their health does degrade more, then you will be changing the motor.
I think you're answering the question. I could have a little reaction concern that is, when you're so diabetic, your glucose are about, about 500, they go to ketoacidosis, around really thirsty. So more especially I think we look at those, so it's struggling to think of like those certain numbers. I'm thinking this one was higher than 300. That you don't get too much polyuria, aphasia, but still you're having clearly. So I think
so I can comment on that. Number one, we did have animals, although our sample size was small, of animals who were moderately diabetic. They were not as diabetic as the animals that I presented you. So they were essentially between the high glucose animals, high hypoglycemic animals, and the control animals. And in fact, their concentration was exactly at the same grade as well. So if they're really diabetic, they suffer more than if they're moderately diabetic. If they're really diabetic, they're supplements for more nicotine than if they're moderately diabetic. Okay, and moderately diabetic is supplements for more than are in control animals. So we do have definitely a grade for that. And go back to the motor issue again. If motor deficits wasn't a issue, they would have physical supplements in water as well. But there are supplements such as food and water that
motor activity is impaired. They should not, some of them serve more. Right?
so it is not a
Given that, because the dopamine is becoming low, that's what probably the low dopamine is because of that kind of use activity or different. That was the reason I wanted to know.
Thank you for the nice presentation. So I just wanted to make sure that this is correctly. So the HPC hyperglycemia could cause increased nicotine usage, both in two ways, both by dysregulation of dopamine receptors and also in the higher only the first one.
So I guess I have to comment on that.
Okay, thank you.
So the best answer to the question is don't worry about that. We're still trying to figure it out. What we're seeing is D2 receptors are no change. There's no change in D2 receptors. Decrease in D1 receptors, you see an increase in transporters and decrease in release. So the transporter increase could explain why we have one. We have more transporters. It could be taking up more dopamine from the chest, which explains why we have dopamine release in our animals. The usual one that we're still trying to figure out. So that's not fully worked out yet. So, when we look at our study, we can interpret our data in two ways. We can either say that there is a greater reward effect of dopamine, or that these animals are not taking more reward, they're just compensating for suppressing dopamine. So we're still in the process of actually figuring that out and looking at these which one is good. We have some preliminary data pointing to a good direction, but we'll have to.
Dr. Brown and myself are looking at patients a whole bunch of stories that have diabetes weeks where who are about so Laura, do you have any comments from you? Okay.
No. No, Marty did a great job of answering the questions.
Thank you. Again, this is nice cross collaboration there. So let's come back at 3:20. And